Well, the off season's here. It's been here, and I've been procrastinating like I always do. I broke the car in November at the last event of the season, lost boost, didn't know what happened, put it back in the trailer, brought it home. Haven't really touched it because I've been building the other car and working on all sorts of stuff at the shop. So, turns out what happened to the car was I lost boost back driving the track. So, here's what we're working with, turbo-wise. This was a G30-660. Take the intake off, and the turbo is smoke. So, like I said, it was a G30-660 running 19, 20 pounds of boost. Probably overspun it. I was in 4th gear when it broke. I don't think that matters. But I also have some wastegate lines to fix. And one thing I always hated about this little turbo was this 3-inch intake pipe. It's just so small, and that was all I got with a 3-inch inlet on the turbo. So other than that, the car was perfect all season. There's a couple small things that I want to kind of tidy up and fix before we drive, and we start driving in a month. So we're going to upgrade the turbo. I have to fix the exhaust manifold gaskets, build new lines for the wastegate. And then also, I have a fuel cell vent that I really didn't like, and we're going to upgrade the vent to a better solution. Hard to see, but the current vent just comes up here. I don't even have a filter on it, so who knows how much rubber has gotten down in there, which we're going to fix. And then we'll do a full bolt check of the car. Car needs new front tires. These front tires lasted all season, but now they're dead, so we'll replace those. And whatever else we can find, but hopefully there's nothing else majorly wrong with it other than having to do the new turbo. So the upgrade is going to be a G30-770, which allows me to run a 4-inch intake. All of our fittings and lines for the new wastegate lines, new exhaust manifold gaskets, and here is everything to run a new, better fuel cell vent kit. I've got John here with me. He's going to help replace this turbo tonight. We're going to see how much we can get done in the next couple of days. Hopefully we can get it fixed and get it back on the lift to do a bolt check. But main part, fix this. All right, let's start taking stuff apart. Get all these lines off, get everything cleaned up in here. JP already welded our new 90. So we'll have to put the turbo in and get it clocked right. Also, I need to replace the intercooler because we lost a lot of oil when that turbo broke. So I'm venturing to say the intercooler probably got filled up with some oil. So we're going to take that out. But the way this car was put together in the front end, to get it out, I have to take the whole core support out, and I'm really not trying to do that. So these tabs have never been used for anything. They've just been kind of hanging out. I'm going to chop those off so I can replace the intercooler nice and easily. Got some stuff unbolted. Turbo should be ready to come out here in a few minutes. Yeah. Now we can swap intercoolers nice and easy without undoing the whole core support. Again, I didn't build this front end. It was built like this when I bought this chassis. So, got to make do with what we got, and we never needed these, and now they can go in the trash can. See what we can find over here in the parts department for an intercooler. We got them all over the place. We'll put this one in. This should do just good. Holes line up here. Ran into a small problem trying to mount this new intercooler. It's hitting the radiator, so we're going to make some new lower brackets for it to hopefully space it out away from the radiator. I don't want it interfering with the radiator and causing any problems. We'll have a slotted hole. I'm going to weld that in place on our existing bracket, just like so. And that will give us a little bit more wiggle room to hopefully push the bottom of the intercooler out so it's not pressed right against the radiator. right, we've got the turbo out of here. We found a loose fitting on the drain, so we're going to tighten that. Now we're going to unbolt the manifold to replace the exhaust gasket that broke, which is, it's like busted back in this corner here. We've got the manifold off, which was a pain, and definitely had a pretty big exhaust leak, so I'm excited to hear this thing without an exhaust leak when everything goes back together with the new gaskets. Also made quite a mess in here when I had a little bit of a coolant overflow situation, so I'm gonna get all this cleaned up with some Simple Green. Here we can see the one manifold gasket that was blown out. The other one still looked great, but we're gonna put both of the new ones on there. Upon investigating, we found some items that were not good, but we are going to fix them. So it's good that we've torn a lot of this hot side apart to find anything that could be wrong, and we found one of the water line hoses was clogged. I don't think that was a part of what had to do with the turbo, but another one was cracked and split. We've got a new line to replace that and another line to replace the other one that was also no good. As you can see on here, that is no good. John is working on getting all the old fittings out of this turbo, the water fittings, the oil fittings, and we'll replace them onto the new turbo, get the manifold back on with the new gaskets. Got the new intercooler that is not full of oil mounted on our new lower brackets here to keep it away from rubbing the radiator. Hopefully have some new AN lines soon.
Yep.
Are they working good?
Yeah.
You're just not talking much, man. Why aren't you talkative? The people on YouTube want to see more John Gore, but
yeah,
if John Gore doesn't talk,
oh, I'm sure.
They do. Those are the comments I've had.
Oh, yeah.
They've said, man, we got to get more John in these videos. Well, here he is. He don't talk much.
No.
You get him off camera, he be talking.
What you up to over here?
Well, the best way to clean something is to just polish it, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
There was some stain on there. Now, nice and shiny. Looks better than new.
You're a professional at polishing that pipe.
Yeah, I love polishing some pipe. Coil pack cover back on. This side of the intercooler back on with a polished pipe. Looks nice. So we'll do the turbo and get all those new wastegate lines on. This is going to take a bit of finagling, as they say. Fresh gaskets. John's got it, no problem. It's easier going on than it was coming off.
Yep.
We love that. Well, we started setting this turbo on here, and we blindly put this 90 on. We thought we matched it to the old one, but it doesn't quite hit the intercooler pipe how it needs to. The old turbo had more of an inward style to its 90, so we're gonna have to probably cut this off and re-weld it with a sharper 90. But look how much bigger the G30-770 is compared to the little baby 660. JP and the fellas came by because it was time to get a lot done. JP had the idea that we needed to switch this car to E85 before it went on the dyno to get tuned with the new turbo. So that's where the surge tank and all the new fuel lines came. JP got a ton done while we were all having a good time, you know, having some laughs, and of course we were enjoying the beers. But thanks to JP being here, a lot got taken care of that I wouldn't have been able to do in a short period of time, and we also had a lot of fun doing it. Here we're working on installing the Walbro 450 fuel pump into the surge tank hanger, which we will have run some new lines in there, along with getting it all wired up. Here we have the fuel pump installed on its hanger, getting it plugged in. This will be ready to reassemble and get it all mounted in the car. Getting the wiring done for the relay that will be for the new fuel pump that'll be mounted in the trunk as well for a shorter length of wire. Getting it looking tidy with the wire sleeve and heat shrink. Checking out the placement of where we're going to put this bracket. We're going to clean this surface off so that it's nice and clean. Get a good weld on there to make sure everything is good and solid here. Here's a look at all the new parts we're going to put on here. We've got new fuel lines and the radium surge tank with a Walbro 450. Those are all E85 rated. Got the bracket welded in, and also you can take a look at the new fuel filter that's powering the old fuel pump, which will be the lift pump going to the surge tank. Making more AN lines and a look at where the surge tank will sit on its new bracket once we get it bolted in. Here's a look at the new E85 lines ran underneath the car in the same position of where the old lines were, but these are just much, much better lines to handle the E85. John's back. He's missed a couple days of work on this. JP's been here banging stuff out. We've got a lot done. We got a little bit to do tonight. Of course, beers first. So like I said, a lot of this has already been taken care of, but the turbo is fully installed now. New 4-inch intake tube with filter. Got the coupler fit on there with the existing intercooler pipe. We ended up not having to modify anything, which was great. We ended up replacing the turbo drain line. It had a hole in it from the heat. So along with a couple of the coolant lines that got replaced, so did that, which gives us a clear indication that we need to do some good bolt check on this whole car. So we've got it back on the lift, ready to do a bolt check, and we'll also be putting new front tires on, new steers, so we'll get more Falcon RT 615Ks. We'll put new back tires on as well, just to get ready to go on the dyno. So we've got everything buttoned up. I can't believe he doesn't know how to open the trunk.
Boom.
Everything back here is all set. We've ran it, there's no leaks. It's the radium surge tank with a Walbro 450 inside of there. All new lines because we will be putting this car on E85. That will be coming up very soon. E85 and a new tune with the new turbo. We have a flex fuel sensor down there. It's all wired in to the Link ECU, ready to rip. I guess we'll get this thing up in the air, pull the wheels off, start mounting some tires, and start checking for loose bolts because I'm sure there's some. I think I've already seen that I'm missing an axle bolt in the rear, so we're gonna find a lot of good stuff, I'm sure of it. I've had the camera on for maybe maybe 5 minutes, and John already crushed his first beverage.
It means it's time to go to work.
These time lapses are great because you can see us getting a lot done in a short amount of time here. Checking all the bolts in the wheel wells, everything was great. A couple small things, but it was really a non-issue. The bolt check went really, really good to my surprise underneath the car, loose. Same within the engine bay, everything was really tidy, so I was quite pleased, but it's still always a good idea to do a bolt check. All right, fresh tires mounted up, got good steers for the season. Fresh 08Cs for the rears. Get these back on, car back on the ground, and we will bleed some coolant and change the oil. So I guess we're gonna change the oil before we put it back on the ground. Yes, sir. The oil that I like to run in this 1.5 JZ is just Rotella 1540 with a Wix filter. That's been what I've ran in this engine ever since we put this car together, and it's worked great. So of course, I'm gonna continue doing that. All right, we're gonna take this one off the lift, push this thing back in the lift place, push this, or turn this around rather, so we can bleed the coolant, and it's raining outside. I really love having this S14 on our Hillbilly rotisserie. It makes it nice to push it around in the shop. Also gives you a really cool view of the underside. It's all stitch welded with a new Alaria Tech transmission tunnel and cat hump delete. But it's nice to push this thing out of the way without having to take it outside, especially while it's raining, to swap the position of the cars. All right, it's been a while since we've driven this. Now everything should be working appropriately. We're gonna turn it around so we can bleed the coolant and the exhaust fumes go outside. It is raining, but we'll try to do this as quick as possible. Steering likes to cry because it hasn't been ran in a while. All right, we'll put it right about there. Let Let it run, let it go ahead and start getting hot. All right, we'll let it warm up now. Let's push this back to a good position. Perfect. Here's a shot of the new fuel cell vent that I put on. Beats the rubber hose, actually has a filter on it. And there's a shot of the radium surge tank all mounted up, ready to rock, making do of this crummy old fuel cell with a good fuel system that's gonna work awesome. That's it, we're done. This thing is hopefully ready to rock. Goes to the dyno soon, but everything we need to do is finished.